Ms. Brandon, if you don't mind, early next week, let's talk about how we might see if we can upgrade, do some work with Guyt to get his computer functioning.
Okay, that sounds like a plan.
All right, so I'm gonna talk to you early next week about that.
No, that sounds like a plan, because I'm gonna call him. I spoke with Ms. Robertson again last week, so she's doing okay.
Yeah, I had intended to call her, but orchestrating this press conference just kind of exhausted all my time, but I definitely want to get together with Ms. Robertson. You didn't tell me that the cancer came back, did you?
No, I didn't tell you that. I just said that she said.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to be sensitive if
Mhm.
you had information I didn't have.
Yeah, she really didn't disclose a lot of information, so I just sent her a care package.
No, I fully got it. God bless her. And God bless you for sending her a care package.
Mhm. You're welcome. Thank you.
Morning, everyone.
Hey, Delvin, how are you?
Trying to join in. I'm out at a community event, but I want to join the meeting.
Oh, okay. What community event are you at?
They doing Representative Harold Dudley doing a voter registration for ex-felons up
Oh,
at
really?
Pelican Park
Okay.
in partnership with Wheatley Foundation, Phyllis
All right.
Wheatley Foundation.
How long is that till?
Say it again.
How long is that till today? What time do y'all start?
Up to 5 o'clock.
Okay.
See if I put my head-
Devin, how you doing?
Let me know if it get too loud.
Hello, Devin.
Devin, Mr. Amawale is speaking to you.
I couldn't hear you. Oh, I'm trying to put my earpiece in. See if that'll help. Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Let me know if it gets too loud, because they got a live band out here.
Okay, Devin, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How's it going, Mr. O'Malley?
Man, how you and your family doing?
Oh, they doing well. My wife had to bury her brother weekend before last, so I just been trying to look out for her, and her mother stays with me too, so I just been trying to take care of them and keep it going.
Okay, well, you've been doing some heavy lifting, man. Condolences to your family and your wife's family. So when you see Harold today, Harold and I have been communicating. Need to chat. I missed him at the press conference on Wednesday. Just tell him that Mr. Amawale said he missed you at the press conference.
Okay. I look like him.
I'll be talking with Mary, that's his aide, next week.
Oh, hello?
Yes, sir.
Hey, my earplugs are dying.
Well, Devin, if you can't stay on, we can send you the recording and you can listen to it. It's up to you.
Yeah, look like he gonna have some audio difficulties.
I look up while I let him know. I think he just walked in.
Yeah, okay.
I thought I had my earplugs charged up, but I think it just died on me.
Yeah, but we can hear you okay right now.
It's kind of loud, but I think this is good one right there.
So, Mr. Amawai, I see that MBK and Lily Grove, I looked at the TV the other day when they had the gun violence thing, so it got good attention, which was great. So that was very impactful.
Well, thank you so much, Ms. Brandley. We might be on to something in terms of this one voice coalition, unity without uniformity, because we had social and charitable organizations like the Panhellenic Council. We had community-based organizations like Shape Center and Project Voter Turnout and a host of other community organizations. And we had a lot of elected officials. I had underestimated that campaign season and the election was going to drive the elected officials' participation, because I wanted it to be a community-driven press conference.
Right.
But the elected officials absorbed too much of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But that's, we live and we learn about how to move forward. So
I mean, it would be a great, well, you would think that some of the politicians, they would be using this as a tactic in their approach for running for election, because it's key for people, especially for the sake of all the citizens. But when you're thinking about the youth, and when you're looking at what happened in Uvalde, you would think that everyone would take on the initiative to put this on their campaign, part of their campaign.
you would think so, because I tell you what, the blessing that we got is from this, and a blessing that flowed from it is from Uvalde. It made it easier for us to talk to people about what it is that needs to be done in terms of this gun violence. And without Uvalde, it would have been a much higher threshold for us to reach. So
Right.
Uvalde just basically changed everything overnight in terms of outreaching the people.
Yeah, that did, but it doesn't change the trajectory, because what happens is that people been going, like, for example, when they went into the grocery store and shot all the minorities, the Black people, then the church. So it seemed like they would have had attention then, but since it happened to kids in Uvalde, it's more prone, it's so upsetting. But what happens is that you don't hear about the church shootings, the store shootings anymore, when they had all the elderly people who've actually lost their lives as well. I just remember back when in 2015, when I was in Alaska, and they had the shooting. The guy went to the church, and the young guy. So when they picked him up, they took him to a fast food to get him something to eat. but I just know that the sister channels, the news channels that was there, they wanted to remove the content for being on the news.
They wanted to remove the what?
The content for being on the news. They didn't want to put it on the news anymore. They just like, just let it be. But again, it was more so the predominant Black lives that actually, they lost their lives in the church where they was worshiping.
Right, right. Lord have mercy. This gun violence thing is going to kill us. You know, because just in terms of school safety, you know, I know that we have other random gun violence, but it looks like it's taking us a lot of time to get up to speed in terms of protecting school children. You know, I know about the problem you might have at supermarkets and churches, but it seems like that our bigger weakness, Achilles heel, is school children.
Absolutely. Well, and that's why I feel that a lot of parents actually homeschool their kids because of that environment that they put their kids where they have that vulnerability.
Well, I think you're right. No, and you know what? The way we going in this country, we could actually destroy a significant part of public education because of the fear that parents have about their children at school. We could destroy public education.
Well, I believe it's going to be destroyed because if you see, if you're looking up through the community, throughout the United States, there are a lot of teachers that's actually resigning because, for one, is that they're at risk, and two, they're just not being compensated.
Now the teacher shortage is, yeah, and the compensation factor is another thing. So I don't know, it's a public policy issue, Ms. Brenda. I don't know how we fully address this public policy crisis, but we got a real crisis at hand. But I think that we would have never had the level of participation at the press conference. We couldn't have had the extent to which we had. We had a big room, but it was almost full. If it had not been for Uvalde.
Right.
That's sad to say, but that is sad to say, and that's very distressing to have to be able to say something like that.
Yeah, because we had another shooting in Texas a couple years ago in Santa Fe. If my memory serves correctly. So, I mean, you would think at that point, but I did see where the parents, they went to DC on a bus protesting as well for gun violence.
Yes. Now we got to up our game on this gun violence question. When you and I get together, there was a lady from a foundation at the meeting, and she sent me an email and indicated that they would like to work with us and see how they can support our initiatives. So that's something that you and I need to talk about next week. And I'll share the email with you when I go back to my computer.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay. All right.
Well, how's Miss Jimmy doing?
Actually, Brandy, better. A lot better. You know, in other words, we're not worried about the threat of falling, and she's doing so well.
Okay.
And so I'm happy that my wife is doing just I can't put enough accolades or superlatives on how well she has done, because I almost want to say it has almost exceeded both of our expectations. And so we're going to resume some home health care in terms of physical therapy and housekeeping and that type of thing in about a week. And so that's going to be a big help.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be a real big help, Ms. Brandy. So we, and I'm thankful for you thinking of my wife, but we're in that season where, dread diseases like cancer and heart afflictions, colon cancer are we just inundated with people that we know of and we love. And then I got some people that's dealing with Parkinson's and ALS. So it's normally I hadn't had to deal with people with ALS, but it's here.
Yeah, I see the ALS is populating everywhere.
And you know what? When I was coming up, we didn't know one person who had ALS.
Yeah.
But now it's all around us, no doubt about it. So no, it's a monster. In a way we look at, okay, all right, we got a few people on. Hopefully we'll populate in just a few minutes. And so I love, so Ms. Brandy, at the top where it says YouTube, if I click on video view stream on YouTube, what will happen?
So, well, when you click on YouTube, that link, the only thing you have to do is go to the bottom of your computer, the screen where it says share screen, and then you share the screen and you share the volume as well.
Oh, okay. All right then. Okay, good.
So do you want to share it, or I mean, I can stay here for another 25 minutes to share it. So.
Okay, good. Now tell me, so I'm gonna view stream on YouTube.
So let me put the link in, and I want you to just click the link, and then I'll walk you through sharing your screen. Go ahead. So click on that link, Mr. Amawala. Mr. Amawala, were you able to click the link?
Yeah, and matter of fact, the YouTube's coming up now, but it looks like my system resources are low for some reason, and it's taking a little longer than normal. It says waiting for a cache. So it's trying to load now on YouTube. Okay, let's see here.
Sometimes you have to restart your computer if you've got a low system memory. So
Actually,
that happens.
Amawala, were you able to click the link?
Yes, ma'am. And matter of fact, the YouTube's coming up now, but it looks like my system resources are low for some reason, and it's taking a little longer than normal. It says waiting for a cache. So it's trying to load now on YouTube. Okay, let's see here.
Sometimes you have to restart your computer if you've got a low system memory. So that happens.
Amawala, were you able to click the link?
Yes, ma'am. And matter of fact, the YouTube. Okay, I tell you what I did, Miss Brandy. I clicked it, and it looks like, as Dr. Bob was saying, if I have low system memory, I probably need to restart my computer. And so let me go ahead and restart my computer, because now I know how to get to the YouTube and do it on YouTube. Now, Ms. Brandon, should I expect a delay in the audio on YouTube?
No, you should. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna share my screen.
Okay, good. Okay. Well, look, we're gonna go ahead and get started. And I guess I'd like to start by saying again, God bless the world, no exceptions, especially the people in conflict zones, war zones, the people who are experiencing human rights crimes, the people who are being adversely affected by climate change, the people who are in deserts, mountain passes, who are experiencing just colossal human rights violations. So we're going to pray that this has meaning for their lives and meaning for our lives in terms of what it is that we're supposed to do in their behalf, which is in fact in our own behalf. But I want to welcome everybody here. First, I want to have a brief check-in. We're very happy to see our brother Devin Ross, and I understand he's at a community engagement event at this minute. But anyway, Devin, this is a check-in where you can talk to us and tell us what's going on with you.
Okay, well, at this moment, everything's going pretty well. Just had to overcome death in the family, but everyone's doing well. Everyone took it as well as, to be expected, and we're just pushing on. I'm just happy to be here. I've been pretty busy. I haven't been able to check in, and I'm just happy to be here among family.
No, we're happy to have you, and I'm glad you mentioned the term family. And so, Ms. Brandon, let's let you go next, since you're going to have to exit a little early.
All right. Well, as far as me, it's good to be in present of family, as Devin stated. Only thing that's going on with me right now, I'm helping my mom get her house repaired from some damages. And the only thing that I ask that everyone continue to keep me and my family in your prayers.
Man.
Well, we will, and I tell you what, we've never met your mom, but if she is anything like you are, I should say she has to be like you because she's your mommy. But she has to be an absolute jewel, and tell her that some of your family members are asking you to give her a big hug next time you all are together.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And so Dr. Randall, your companion and soulmate was with us on Wednesday for the press conference. And so we were just happy to have Nancy with us. And I'm gonna let you check in on behalf of you and Nancy.
Yeah, well, it's the fall, and that always is very complicated life for me and for Nancy often too. And Nancy is involved with the Houston climate movement in a lot of detail, and they're having a summit this morning. And so she was headed out early this morning and found out our battery in our car was dead. And we have two cars, but one was parked in front of the other. The dead one was in front of it. And so at the moment, that car is now in the shop, and she's gotten off to the climate summit. But that's what she's doing. And I'm working away on trying to get this permaculture class organized. We've been redoing it quite a bit because of the Urban Harvest got a $500,000 grant basically to upgrade permaculture teaching in Houston high schools for high school students and teachers, and which is basically sustainability kinds of issues. And So we've been looking at the course we've been teaching and trying to make it a bit more usable for people. And so it's been a lot of work for me, and I'm sort of getting some closure now, finally, after weeks and weeks of working on this. So that's pretty much what we're doing at the moment. I as an aside, my grandmother's grandmother was a First Nations Canadian, and there's a popcorn type that the Mi'kmaq of the Maritimes of Canada grow and have grown for centuries. And I got to plant some this morning, so that was cool. Anyway, that's me.
Yeah, no, that's not trivia when you just said that your grandmother's grandmother was a First Nations, one of the indigenous people of Canada, and hopefully we're going to have some education about what has been happening in terms of reconciliation with the First Nations in Canada, but that's an interesting piece of information. And I also want you to know that Nancy did an excellent presentation a few weeks ago. You were absent about the heat crisis that was going on in this country and the type of innovations that are being pursued by cities, anticipating that the heat crisis would intensify. But we had an excellent presentation by Nancy, and I think it's in our archives. Brother David Teller, we want to thank you for coming to the press conference, and we'd like for you to check in and tell us how you're doing and how your family is doing.
Good morning to everyone. Omowale, I want to thank you for the invite. Greatly enjoyed the presentations by elected officials, the Houston Police Department, and various Houston community engagement leaders. It was very educational, and I love the spirit and the collaboration intent that was talked about. I really thought that it was excellently put on. I had a chance to actually speak with Nancy after the event, and we shared some conversation about her endeavors related to our climate issues, and that was very educational as well. I admire her spirit and her contributions to this effort. I just wish there were more people who understood the gravity of the situation we find ourselves in today. Everyone in the family is doing pretty well. I'm glad to report, and it's good to see all of you this morning.
Okay, thank you, my brother. And Mr. Gary.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Doing good. Still resting a little bit, but doing all right, and happy to see everybody. And really happy that the event went really well on last week. That's great.
Okay, somewhat in a, I guess as a, I don't know if Pam was your surrogate or you are her surrogate, but at any rate, we thank you for encouragement for Pam representing the Panhellenic Council. Did she represent her sorority, AKA?
Yes, she's AKA.
Okay, good. But we want to thank her for being there. And so we certainly interested in her critical feedback, which we will get going forward. We are going to talk a minute about the press conference after we have a video that Ms. Brandley has queued up for us. I hope you can stay with us. We're not gonna be too much overtime at all, but I have a 25-minute video. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to seed the ground for some activity going forward. Where's Brother Rob Simon? I saw he was on and he disappeared.
I think he dropped off.
Okay, does anybody know who invited him or who it, the any of you know Rob Simon?
I don't know.
Okay, well, we're gonna go ahead and move the agenda. I'll do some investigation on Rob going forward and find
to
out.
live forever. Since the
Okay,
start of
just-
the 20th century, we have increased
Yeah, just 1 minute, Miss Brandon, before you kick that off.
Taking a call. I'll be over there in a few minutes.
Okay, yeah. And what we might ask everybody to do is just to go ahead and mute your mics.
You're on mute, Mr. Omawale.
Okay, we have so many 70-year-olds and 80-year-olds and in terms of us and our families. And a lot of our work going forward, which I have expressed, we're trying to make our minds, really our brains grow smarter as our bodies grow older, and make sure that we have a quality life going forward, because we're trying to not be a just a fake or pseudo community. We're trying to really multiply, intensify the kind of ties and relationships that we have with each other. And this video that we have is going to be important for that purpose. And then we're going to talk a minute about the press conference right after we finish the video. So David Johnson, good to have you on, and we'll be talking to you in about 20 minutes. We're going to start this video. So Ms. Brandy, hug your mama and give us, go ahead and kick that video off, please.
increased life expectancy in this country by a remarkable 30 years, from just 49 in 1900 to almost 79 today. And more of us are making it into that group we all hope and kind of dread joining, the over 90 crowd. Affectionately dubbed the oldest old, men and women above the age of 90 are now the fastest growing segment of the U.S. population. Yet very little is known about the oldest old, since until recently there were so few of them. So what determines which of us will make it past age 90? What kind of shape we'll be in if we do? And what can we do to up our odds? Finding out is the goal of a groundbreaking research study known as 90 Plus.
I was born on April 21st, 1914.
My birthday is February 7th, 1918.
I was born on August 25th, 1920, and I'm 93 plus.
June 15, 1918, and it was, I'm sure, a lovely day.
Do you feel 95? What age do you
I feel about 52. Not really.
What they have in common, other than having lived a combined total of almost 400 years, is that decades ago, they all lived in a retirement community called Leisure World, 45 miles south of Los Angeles.
Hi there, and welcome to Leisure World, a new way of life designed for alert and active people 52 years or older who want to get the most out of life.
Today, it's still a retirement community, and they're still getting the most out of life, though it's no longer called Leisure World. It's now its own city, Laguna Woods.
They didn't like the words leisure world. They consider themselves active.
Active World.
Active world.
Dr. Claudia Kawas spends a lot of time in Laguna Woods these days. She's a neurologist and professor at nearby UC Irvine who discovered the research equivalent of gold here. Information gathered from thousands of Leisure World residents back in 1981, with page after page of data about their diet, exercise, vitamins, and activities.
14,000 people answered this questionnaire in 1981. Many of them, if they were still alive, would now be over the age of 90.
She saw a rare opportunity to study what worked and what didn't.
So did you try to find them?
We went after all 14,000, and if they were still alive, we wanted to find where they were.
With $6 million of funding from the National Institutes of Health, Kawas and her team set out to find out who had died, when they died, and to convince those who were still living and over 90 to sign up.
And you're how old now? I'll be 103 months.
We're going to have a party.
Good.
Jane Whistler
I love a party.
is one of the more than 1,600 men and women they found and enrolled as subjects in the 90-plus study. They are checked from top to bottom every 6 months.
Big smile?
Their facial muscles,
Excellent.
reflexes, balance,
3, 4, 5.
how they walk, how fast they can stand up and sit down,
Fantastic.
and most importantly, how their minds are working.
I'm going to say and show you 3 words for you to remember. Shirt, brown, honesty.
Shirt, brown, honesty.
Perfect. Now please spell world.
They are given an hour-long battery of cognitive and memory tests.
Good. Now spell world backwards.
DLROW.
Asked to connect letters and numbers
There you go.
and to remember.
All right. What 3 words did I ask you to remember earlier?
Brown, shirt,
You want a little hint?
yeah.
Okay. Was that word honesty, charity,
Honesty.
or modesty?
Yes.
When it's time for your exams in the 90-plus study,
What
do you
you
look
cooking,
forward
Jim?
to it, or
Sure.
do you ever
Jimmy,
say, oh,
What are you cooking?
they're going to find something, or I'm not going to be able to do as well as I did last time?
Oh, yeah, I think that, sure.
You do.
But that doesn't stop me. I think it's fun. Shirt, brown, honesty.
We were struck by what great shape many of the study participants are in,
Excellent. 13 seconds.
like Lou Torado, a World War II B-17 gunner who was shot down near Berlin and spent 8 months as a German POW. And Sid Shiro, another World War II veteran who came to talk to us despite having suffered a stroke just a few weeks earlier that slurred his speech.
I am 92 years old and going strong.
Sid drives his car to his test sessions.
You drive a convertible. You want the girls to look at you.
They call it the chick car.
Sid, a widower, works out at the fitness center, keeps up with the news and the ladies.
So you're a bachelor.
Yes,
Do you date?
yes,
Do you have a rich social life?
yes,
Is it fun?
yes. Very much so. And I hope to last a long time.
But of course, not everyone is so lucky. When participants like Louise Bigelow, age 97, are too frail to come in for testing, the testers go to them.
An orange and a banana are alike because they're both
Yellow. Yeah.
Louise remembers events from long ago, like when her bridal veil caught fire a few minutes after this photo was taken.
It went right into the flames of the candles. So I always had a lot of excitement all the time. And that was the beginning.
You're not going to forget that, ever.
No.
But when it comes to recent memories and thinking skills, she struggles more and more.
And in what way are laughing and crying alike?
I don't know.
Okay.
Brown, honesty, and shirt.
The testers go to 95-year-old Ruthie Stahl's home, too. They go not because she can't come to them. She just doesn't have time.
I'm in my car more than I'm in the house, I think, because I do so many things.
What do you do?
I am flying all over the place.
Flying, as in speed walking, 3 miles almost every day.
On Sunday, it's only 2 miles.
Are you on the computer?
Yes, I am, but I'm having trouble with my computer. I had a computer for 10 years and enjoyed it, but it died.
Jane outlived her computer. At almost 100, she's done a lot of outliving.
We were all bridge players. We'd play bridge and have dinner, and it was a lot of fun.
Have some of them died?
They've all died.
They've all died.
Everyone.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm the only one left.
So what was it that got these people into their 90s?
So you've never had a stroke?
No?
while their spouses, friends, and colleagues
Never had hardly anything.
dropped out along the way.
What's your secret?
I wish I knew.
Genes clearly contribute to longevity, says Kawas, but they aren't everything. Jane Whistler's parents both died when she was young.
Well, whatever your secrets are, by being in the study, we're going to try to find them out.
So you can go back and look at their medical history.
Everybody in the study filled out that questionnaire in the early 1980s.
And comparing that data to how it's all turned out has yielded a slew of published findings about behaviors associated with living longer. So what's the verdict? No surprise, smokers died earlier than non-smokers. And what about exercise?
People who exercised definitely lived longer than people who didn't exercise. A little as 15 minutes a day on average made a difference. 45 was the best. Even 3 hours didn't beat 45 minutes a day.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
And it didn't all have to be at once. It could be, for example, 15 minutes of walking, and then later in the day, gardening or something. And it also didn't have to be very intense exercise.
And non-physical activities, book clubs, socializing with friends, board games, all good.
For every hour you spent doing activities in 1981, you increased your longevity. And the benefit of those things never leveled off.
The subjects we spoke to had definitely been active, but they didn't strike us as having lived their lives worrying about their health.
I'm not a big vitamin person.
Have you watched over the years what you ate?
Not really.
Dessert?
Sure, I love dessert. I always had a glass of wine before dinner, and now I still do, but I can't quite finish it.
Clean living, huh?
No,
No, not clean living.
I don't know what clean living is.
What about alcohol?
Sure, I love wine.
Do you take vitamins?
Yes, a lot of them.
So which vitamins helped? Antioxidants?
Okay, vitamin E. We're sitting at the edge of our chairs. Did it make a difference?
It
Vitamin
was my
E?
favorite, but
No.
people who took vitamin E didn't live any longer than people who didn't take vitamin E.
They also looked at vitamin A, C, and calcium.
The short answer is none of them made a difference
None of them made a difference to living
in terms
a long
of how
life.
long you lived.
What about alcohol?
Oh, alcohol made a difference.
But it may not be what you think.
Moderate alcohol was associated with living longer than individuals who did not consume
Wait a minute.
alcohol.
Moderate alcohol, you live longer?
Yes.
Up to 2 drinks a day led to a 10 to 15% reduced risk of death compared to non-drinkers.
Isn't that exciting?
And any kind of alcohol seemed to do the trick.
A lot of people like to say it's only red wine.
Yeah.
In our hands, it didn't seem to matter.
Martini's just as good.
Yeah.
And there's good news for coffee drinkers. Caffeine intake equivalent to 1 to 3 cups of coffee a day was better than more or none. And if you're concerned about those bulging waistlines, listen to this.
It turns out that the best thing to do as you age is to at least maintain or even gain weight.
Gain weight?
Mm-hmm.
So being a little overweight is good?
Being obese is never good.
And being overweight as a young person wasn't good either. But late in life, they found people who were overweight or average weight both outlived people who were underweight.
It's not good to be skinny when you're old.
But living a long time, even if we don't have to watch our waistlines, isn't the only thing most of us care about. We want to be all there to enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
And it's in the areas of Alzheimer's and dementia that the 90+ study is generating some of its most provocative and surprising findings. We'll tell you about that, and one more thing, romance. After 90?
How's your sex life? You brought it up.
When we come back.
The story will continue after this.
A house or a laptop? Which one do you think is worth more? Well, definitely not the house, because it not only costs millions to buy, but you also...
Pose that, please. Thank you so much.
We are a nation getting older. By the middle of the century, the number of Americans
We're
aged
gonna go
90
back-
and
we're
above
gonna go
is
back to
projected
live.
to quadruple. While that's good news for those of us who want to stick around,
Yeah, we're gonna go back to live.
it also means
You can stop screen share if you're screen sharing and, yeah.
Okay, I think Ms. Brandon's taking care of that for us, and I want to thank you, everybody, for indulging us on that video. I think that we're going to have more that's going forward. I guess I hope that y'all have a sense of humor. Maybe some of y'all think I stopped that video because I didn't want to hear people fabricating about their sex life. So, yeah, but no, I wanted to introduce that following Miss Bradley. That was by design in terms of how do we build a quality life that we need going forward? How do we add breadth to our years going forward? And I think that that study is pregnant with a lot of information about what we need to do to have the kind of rich quality life going forward. I'm gonna see if I can send that out as a attachment so that all of you can get a chance to look at it in its entirety. And I've looked at it twice, especially focusing in on the part that deals with these memory and cognitive diseases. Let me just take a minute and get impressions from you all, and I'm gonna just kind of go from left to right. I'd like to get your impressions, and let's start with Bob Randall, and then we'll move to David Taylor, and then we'll let each person select the next person that the conversation will move to. Dr. Randall.
Well, I'm not very surprised by anything in that. Let me just say that. I have, my dad died of a sudden heart attack when I was 20. He was 54. His brother lived to 92 and his sister lived to 98. And, so much for genetics. And I'm pretty sure that it was his lack of exercise and diet. My mother was a big fan of making pie, and they used Crisco, which was a trans fat, which has now been banned because of the degree to which it creates heart attacks. And so I started really paying attention to diet in the 1960s. And part of the reason I spent most of my life trying to help people grow food is because I think growing food is great exercise. I was using all my muscles this morning planting corn. And, but I think with exercise, the most important thing you do is something you like doing. That is good exercise, whatever it is. If you like to walk or you like to run or you like to lift weights or whatever, as long as you do it. And I would say an hour, 5 days a week, a great approach. Figure out what you like to do and do it is what I would say. And as for diet, I don't think it's a good idea to be shoveling pesticides down your gullet. And I don't think your intestine works well if what you're eating is not organic, and organics are hard to get a hold of, and so it's easier to grow it. So that's sort of what I think about the whole thing, but I agree with everything they pretty much said. and the exercise is absolutely crucial. So, and David, you were gonna.
Okay. I had a chance actually to see this presentation on 60 Minutes and found it really interesting, particularly the parts that have to do with where they talked about exercise and how important it was. I've paid a lot of attention to that over the last few years, and every doctor that I see for various issues associated with my body, each one of them emphasized that about that amount of exercise every day is extremely important to a longer life. And David, I would agree with you that what you put in your system has a lot to say about how long you'll stay here. And I've paid a lot of attention to, diet, and I like the idea of growing my own food. And I'm really looking into putting that into my daily routine, growing vegetables and making sure that what I eat is really good for my system. And I'll pass on to David Johnson.
Because he knew all those injuries that they had in LA were going to affect the team's performance here. So he chose to really be low key, giving these guys experiences. Guys like Lucas LeCamp.
We're going to ask somebody to somebody kill your mic, please. Go on mute.
We also got to give them credit for dusting themselves off and bouncing back so well against Wales. Yeah, those young guns.
Somebody has some back. Okay, good. So that took care of it. So David Taylor passed to David Johnson for impressions.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. I concern myself quite a bit with osteoporosis. I remember reading about it when I was a young guy in, I think, elementary school. Hardening of the bones as you get older. Brittle bones. So I drink a lot of milk. I don't know if that's really helping me a lot, but in any case, I was really impressed with what was being said, especially how fit those elders are, and like Bob Randall, I don't grow my own vegetables, but I definitely try to source the most organic free vegetables and food, meat, whatever else I eat. My father died when he was 51. My mother died at 41. I don't believe there is I don't believe there's any history in my family of 80s, 90s, that kind of thing. I'm not real sure, but I try to keep my weight at a place where, because I was a chunkster growing up, a little boy, because my mama cooked real good. She used Crisco quite a bit. And so I'm 67 and I'm 213 and I got a little bit of a gut. So I guess as I get older, I'll be all right. I don't have to worry about it because I got the gut, So yeah, I was impressed with those elders and all the things that they did. And I think we should all be concerned about it because if we live, we're going to get there. Amen. I'm sorry. I'm done.
Yeah, Johnson, we're going to let you hand it off to the next person.
Delvin Ross.
Okay, I was pretty impressed by those elders also. And I agree with everything that's being said about the exercise and the dieting. But I just want to put out there at the tender age of 50, compared to those elders, I had a stroke.
Wow.
And I've been a vegetarian. At that time, I had been a vegetarian for approximately 20 years. So what I think is, and I exercise real regular, I think it is
what you put in your body at a young age will affect you at an old age. You know, excessive drinking, excessive illegal things, all these things catch up with you when you stop putting them in, they be like, you know, well, what's going on? Where my stuff at? You know, it come back to get you. And I think that has an effect on you. So we got to start reaching out to the younger people and, you know, and showing them how to take care of their body. Don't wait till you get 60 years old to take care of your body. Yeah. By then, you done tore everything up inside your body. So and we got to start, you know, trying to reach out to them and show them at a tender age where what you do right now will affect how you become. So, you know, but that's I just think what you put in at an early age affect is the outcome at a later age. And let's see who else on the call. I don't have. I'm out here at this event, so I can't really see. Let me see who else on there.
Dr. Butler.
Dr. Butler, yeah. Hi, Dr. Butler. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. You'll be proud of me today. I'm at a voter registration. So I'm back.
All right.
She's muted.
Okay. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
See you again. I haven't been here for a little while. Let me first say I just came back from a Beto walk that was in Pearland this morning, and I gave out some Project Voter Turnout literature, and I received some other things for folks to sign up. So sign up, everybody. I want to apologize for not being here at the very beginning. I don't know exactly what the topic is, but I do know the substance of the topic. And I believe you're talking about how to take care of our bodies in a healthy way. Somebody help me out.
Yeah. So Dr. Butler, what we did is a presentation on 60 Minutes that dealt with people who were 90-year-olds. They did a longitudinal study with the 90-year-olds, and I think it involved maybe about 50,000 people over time. And they were looking at the quality of life that these older folk were experiencing in their 90s. And they were looking at things like cognitive memory, physical diseases, the role that exercise played in their present lifespan. And they were trying to get the feeling of, to get an idea of their perspective on their general state and well-being going forward. And so
okay,
that's what we were looking at.
All right, thank you for that. I can speak to that very well. For 20 years, well, actually a little bit longer than that, cancer came into my life in 1999. And I learned a lot. And one of the things that I learned is that people are dying needlessly. I said dying.
Yeah.
Needlessly.
Yeah.
Out of my cancer journey, I started a nonprofit organization. And the basics of that organization was education, 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 health awareness. Most of the work that we did had to do exactly with what you're discussing today. Physical activity, the role of physical activity in our lives, and starting really when they learn how to walk. Make opportunities for them to get exercise every day. I have some grandchildren and I focus on that with them. They're youngsters. The second thing that I have done was really to give awareness and education about nutrition. You know, and in the workshops that I would do, I would say to folks, take a look at your plate. when you sit down. And if you see brown and white, brown gravy, white rice, white potatoes, you know, you're not feeding yourself very well. Examine your plate as you would examine the palm of your hand. Look for color. And I had folk to talk about the red veggies, you know, green, purple, all sorts of kind of foods that we can eat. And when you put it right at that, and then it's that third thing, look for texture. And everything you eat is soft and mushy and it slides right on down. You know, well, you know the rest of that story. The texture is like a Brillo brush to our colon. I had colon cancer, by the way. And so it was the colon that I focused on because I learned that really those things that we speak of health-wise, not only do they reduce your risk of colon cancer, but almost every other cancer that you can name. Almost every other cancer, physical activity and nutrition. Now, and exercise in the brain. I walk every day. I've had my walk already this morning. I don't go anyplace. I don't even go to church before I take my walk in the morning. Huh. I walk every day. And actually, I'm forced to walk because I have a little four-legged family member. So I really have a choice. And that's one of the reasons why I have that. Secondly, the brain power that I heard someone mention. You find things to do, puzzles, down and communicate with people and exercise the brain. So all of the things, and I'm really pleased to hear this conversation. Now, with everything that I've said to you, and I've started another nonprofit, you know about it, Project Voter Turnout, and I'm out and about and doing things, and I'm going to have to leave shortly to go to another meeting. And let me reveal to you, and I say this proudly, with all the things that I have just described to you, on my next birthday, I will be 87 years old.
Wow.
God bless.
On my next birthday, I will be 87. So I'm getting close to 90. And, you know, if it wasn't for the aches and pains, I could do a whole lot more in this society today. So the aches and pains kind of slow me down a little bit, but nonetheless, it's my joy to be able to meet with and converse with and inspire and educate and so on others that I see. I may have taken too much time. I don't know what I was supposed to be saying, but I think it's a great topic, you know, to address. You're on mute, Omawale. Omawale, you're on mute.
Yes, whenever you take too much time, and just remember that American Express motto, membership has privileges. You have extra privileges, and no, it's because of your the distinguished way that you provide service and the kind of relationships that you engender with all of us. That's what gives you the privileges that you have. But look, we want to thank you for that presentation. It's always good to be in your company. And we're going to say a few words about the press conference a little later, which you were at. Ms. Aguirre, can you go next?
Could I ask a question before the next person? Is there an agenda? Where is this conversation?
No, that's not an agenda.
Is it going anyplace? I mean, we're just having this conversation today.
No, I have some things that I have as an agenda, but nobody has it but me. And it's because of a number of reasons. So, but at any rate, that is more or less as a chastisement, is that we're going to proceed with a written agenda going forward, but it's somewhat impromptu and extemporaneous the way we're handling this today, Dr. Butler.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so Mr. Gary, are you there?
Yes. Now basically what everybody is saying is very true. Food is actually the top determining factor of how we will age, how well we age, kind of our, joy of life, freedom from chronic disease. Exercise is right up there. There's been this particular 60-minute review I noticed was from 2014. There's a lot more data, a lot more research now, which underscores and even emphasizes more the things that were said. So just a few quick facts, and then I have a book to recommend to you that I'll put it in the chat. But genetics or family history only account for about 10% of your outcomes, health outcomes in life. So that's good news. And I think some of the examples that were shared by Bob and others kind of are testimony. I think David, also yours to that. The other thing is that's really good news, and this was really a surprise to me. The most recent research on exercise is that going to the gym for an hour a day is not as good as intermittent activity and not sitting a lot during the day. So I think it was mentioned that 15 minutes in the video, 15 minutes of walking, then another 15 minutes of maybe gardening, and then maybe another 15 minutes of dancing to old tunes that you like. Whatever you do, it doesn't matter. But the intermittent aspect of it is key. It's much more important than how much you do. So it's not about powerlifting. It's not about going to the gym. It's about gardening, like Bob said, but it's about not sitting all the time and breaking that sitting up, whether you're working at a desk or whatever, break it up and just do things that you like. It doesn't really matter what it is. It's the frequency and the consistency that matters. So interestingly enough, that the book that I want to recommend to you, and of course it's backwards because I'm showing it on my camera, but I'll put it in the chat. It's called The Alzheimer's Solution. It's written by Drs. Dean Sharzai. They run a clinic which is based on these lifestyle issues, and a lot of the same research. A lot of the research is related to the Seventh-day Adventist community in California, which is part of that community, I believe, that was talked about in the video. And so I'll put this in the chat, but this is it was published in 2019. Research is ongoing, but the good news is we have everything to do with what our outcomes are, and it's never too late to start. And the last thing I would say is what we're doing on this call, even though it's virtual, that is critical too. And I think they talked about that community, being engaged with people, whether it's friends, family, community activities, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, but that is critical as well. So there's 90% of our outcome we have, a lot to do with. And the only thing I have to say with David Johnson, because I love him, I love all of you guys, please give up the milk. It raises your prostate cancer risk exponentially. And have milk, but just get a plant milk, almond milk, oat milk, rice milk. There's all kinds of milk. Most of the calcium we need comes from vegetables. And so you don't have to really go to milk for that, but milk is inflammatory. So it's better to, just like meat, it's kind of like liquid meat. So better not to do the milk and do a plant milk instead.
Yeah, in the interest of time.
I see David is like, I don't know about that.
No, I hear you, sister. I really do. I hear you. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah, in the interest of time, I wanted to just mention that there's a book that I'm recommending, as you can see here.
All these shameless plugs.
Definitely. Life Without Heart Disease. Sure, Gary. So I want to recommend that book.
That's Sherry's book?
Yes. And while there are some other books being mentioned, like the Alzheimer's Connection that Cheryl just mentioned, there's another book that I'm finding to be quite healthy. Cheryl, have you seen this book?
You know, I have not.
It's called Vegan Vengeance. It has over 100 delicious, cheap, animal-free recipes that rock. But anyway, I'm glad that we're sharing this information, these books, because all of us can't access these by ourselves. And so this collective knowledge that we are getting is very good. I want to close this section.
Can I just add one thing that I forgot to mention? If that's all right, it takes a very short period of time. She quoted a statistic in that film about how at the turn of the 20th century that the lifespan was like 42 years and now it's 78. Remember that passage?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the lifespan at birth. That's the, anybody who's born alive, then they figure out how, so if you live to age 6 months, that gets added into the pool. And so your lifespan, like I'm 80, lifespan of somebody who is 80 is not 78. It's probably so closer to 95 or something like that. You can look it up, it's on the internet, but the life insurance tables have that. So if you think that, you're 66 and that means you're just about 12 years left in your life on average, that's not true. If you're 66, you're probably got 87 or something like that. And if you're 95, you've got 104. I actually looked that up when my mother-in-law was 99 and it was 104. Anyway, so.
Yeah, Doc, we're gonna need you to break that out further in one of our future meetings. Yes, Dr. Butler.
I have a quick question. Some of us don't do a lot of cooking. You live alone, so I don't cook. Do you know of vegan restaurants? Somebody has said to me there are a couple of very good ones in town, vegan restaurants. Can anybody cite off the top of your head where we can purchase it?
Right. I'm not sure what part of town you're in, Dr. Butler.
I'm in Pearland.
In Pearland, okay. I don't know about Pearland, but I do know you can Google vegan restaurants near me, and some will pop up. But what I can tell you, probably if you come into the city, you probably come in on 288, is that right?
Yes.
So one of the best in town, and in my opinion, one of the best in the country is Sunshine's. Sunshine is a long time feature of our community right here in Houston.
That's the name of it, Sunshine?
Yeah, Sunshine's. Burgess Bourgeois was the founder. They just opened a new location in 5th Ward, I think off Lockwood. They've been around for some 40 some years. The food is really good. It's good quality food. It's prepared well, it's low oil, it's low salt, but you'll never know it. It tastes so good. And so, and it's an African-American owned business, which is wonderful because we're also feeding our economic, health. So that would be a really good one. There's one on the corner of Alameda and Wheeler called Green Seed. Happens also to be African-American owned. I live in 3rd Ward, so I'm partial to the ones that are in the area. Green Seed Vegan, started by a young Black woman who graduated from U of H. And they were actually listed some years ago. They've been around for probably at least 15 years or so. On one of the top vegan restaurants in the country back then. So the only other thing I wanted to add real quick is that you do not have to be vegan to live a good, long, healthy life.
That's right.
What is really important is the spectrum. So if you're over here And, you know, most Americans are really heavy meat and dairy eaters. And I was like one of the heaviest, you know, I ate so much that I don't even know why I'm still here, Bob. But so if you have that extreme here and you have totally plant-based or vegan here, the closer you get to this end of the spectrum, every step of the way, your health improves. You don't have to go all the way to being vegan, but every step you take in that direction helps. So just know that it's not perfection. You don't have to be perfect at any of it, but everything you do counts. And we get lots of do-overs, thank God.
Back to the restaurant Sunshine. Do you know what street it's on?
It's on OST near Alameda. But what I'll do is I'll put the address in the chat. Yes, and the new location, I know it's in Fifth Ward, right off I-10. I think it's on Lockwood, but I'll try to look that up and put it in the chat as well. But there are many around the city. Just Google vegan restaurants near me. Just be aware that sometimes everybody who has a salad will put their name on the list. So read the menu before you get in your car and go over there.
Thank you.
Now, thank you guys for asking. This is really great information for everybody. And I think, is it Kelvin that dropped off? Delvin?
Delvin, yeah, Delvin.
Delvin, thank you. I think what he said was really wise and important. The earlier we start, the better. There's an old saying from, I don't know where, it's that the best time to solve a problem is before it exists. So the earlier we start, the better.
Yeah, I want to thank all you sages for giving us such wise information. I keep telling Shara is that the reason why she's still here is that she's nearly indestructible, but she won't accept that.
Can I say something right quick, Omawale? I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. Reverend Johnson, please.
Dr. Butler, when you coming south, north on 288, get off at the Yellowstone OST exit, left on OST,
okay,
across 288, and follow OST. Stay in your left-hand lane, follow OST almost to the tracks, and you'll see Sunshine's on your left, just before you go across the tracks. If you know,
thank you, David.
If you know where Guy's Meat Market used to be, then you know where Sunshine's is.
All righty. All right, that's good information.
You're welcome, Sister Shara.
I wanted to put a plug in for the bean soup. They have a white bean soup to die for at Sunshine. But moving on in the interest of time, I'm assuming Ms. Brantley is no longer here. She told me she had something to do. I just like to take the liberty to mention a couple of things that I think that, from my perspective, needs to be in the mix. And so yesterday, I had to go to a school and meet with a principal and her staff. But one of her staff members told me a story that I don't know if it changed my life, but it had a profound impact. So this staff member has a 6-year-old daughter. And so when she got up one morning, her 6-year-old was already up. And when she looked at the girl started crying, just profusely crying. And so she went over to find out what was wrong with her phone, what was wrong with her daughter, and her phone was just absolutely blowing up. And so what the little girl had done, she had gotten on TikTok. And so on TikTok, these kids had a viral deal going on where you would get your parents' phone, get all of their contacts from their phone, and you would send them, send out a message that unfortunately they had deceased during the night.
What?
And so her little girl had sent out that she had died during the night. And so everybody in her contacts was now converging on her phone give condolences or say, what's going on? We heard that you were dead. And so she was trying to figure out what was what was going on. But meanwhile, the police were arriving at her house and they were beating on the door to get in. And so she had to go back and do all of the damage that her little girl at 6 years old had done by TikTok. You know what I mean? I don't know if you call that precocious or what it is, or just devilment or whatever through TikTok, but it was the most ludicrous thing and funniest thing that I'd heard in a long time. But I told her, I said, don't you whoop that girl, you know. But the second thing I wanted to tell you was the episode that I had seen on Sanford and Son with Lamont, where Lamont goes over to his daddy and he looks at his plate and he said, Daddy, you know the doctor had prohibited you from eating what's on your plate. So Fred keeps on eating. He looks up at Lamont. He says, son, I'd be a fool if I died from nothing at all. Okay. Well, look, people. So let's talk a minute to unpack some of this work that we did, and I'm very grateful to many of you for helping to move this agenda. Wilbur T is not here, but Wilbur T was at the press conference. Reverend Reginald Mays was at the press conference. Had an opportunity to link folk together. The Chronicle did a what I thought was a important and maybe above average article in terms of covering the press conference by talking about gun violence. I want you to know that we had a real challenging task convincing the mayor's people, not the mayor, that we could make this the centerpiece around permitless carry. And so they were more or less unconvinced, but we did manage to finally convince them that we could address this question of permitless carry. We deeply indebted to Reverend Anderson and Lily Grove. I don't know how many of you all have ever visited Lily Grove or looked around, but in terms of super churches, especially in terms of the physical plant that they have at Lily Grove, is virtually unmatched. And then when I say virtually unmatched, I'm talking about in comparison with the other edifices that these churches are around the
inside the loop.
Huh?
Inside the loop.
Yeah, and plus the fact Reverend Anderson lives in the community, and I understand that he's often, counseling and working with folks, because he can hear gunshots a lot from where he is at in the Sunnyside community. But we'll further unpack that. But the One Voice Coalition, Unity Without Uniformity, which is more or less the device or the formula that we use to put this together. And folks who heard about it are still outreaching to us. And I've gotten emails even from the Texas Medical Center in regard to the medical associations that deal with trauma surgeons and doctors. They're trying to find a way to get involved in this effort, so we're getting a lot of dividends out of this effort. And I wanted to thank everybody for enduring with us during the campaign, because we actually started on the day that permitless carry became law. Does anybody have any observations or comments about gun violence? David Teller was there, and he made mention, and Dr. Butler was there.
Omar Wally, I'll just say that it was a real success as far as putting together the people who can make a difference regarding this very critical issue in our society. I'd like to say I applaud you for the manner in which you handled the lady, I forget her name, Omar Wally, who told the story about the death of her daughter and how her daughter died and how she had began to support people who lose their loved ones from that kind of violence. The way that you assisted her at the podium, I applaud you for the manner in which you helped her get through that.
Yeah, thank you so much, David. She has emerged as a dear friend, a dear family member. Miss Betty Gregory, we were asked by the mayor's office to select somebody who would not get too emotional and somebody who would not make the audience too emotional. Well, I don't know how you could do that. The lady who was supposed to be featured, her name was Amanda Conway. And so she had lost a niece in the New Orleans club block party shooting that took place about 5 years ago. And then she had recently had her husband's brother murdered. And she had an automobile accident. And so that's why she was not center stage. But I think that Miss Gregory, as David Taylor testified, did a superb job giving her presentation. So all in all, I think that we're dealing with phase 2. I'll be trying to loop many of you in terms of discussion about what happens, next steps going forward. So folks, we are just about out of time.
May I?
Yes, ma'am.
There you go. I want to say ditto to what David said just now, David Taylor, about the event. I am really so glad, Omar Wally, that you included me on your invite list. I was glad to be there. I know it took a Herculean effort to get the people present, that is the elected officials. It's hard to do that. And you did a marvelous job of getting representation at the local level, at the state level, at the national level. That's not easy. I am one always, you hear it from almost every question that I ask. I'm looking forward to the next step. It's wonderful. It was a wonderful event. But I don't want to see it stop there. There's so much more that
we'll be moving forward, and I think that we might be asking some special favors of you in terms of engagement with the Texas Medical Center trauma associations, because I think that we need somebody of your eminence to kind of interface with that group of people. And I think that, again, it will not die. Dr. Butler, we are trying to move this effort forward. I'd like for you to keep in mind that we do not meet in November, giving you in advance. We don't meet in November at all, but we do show up at the Mickey Leland Memorial in next to Miller Theater, the Saturday before Thanksgiving from 12 to 12:30. We just there for 30 minutes. So I'd like for you to put that on the calendar, and it's going to be outside too. And I would like to say that Dave Atwood has been having some medical challenges. And so if any of you all want to reach out to Dave Atwood, just to give him support. And Miss Brantley has been, she sent out a care package in behalf of all of us to Miss Roberson, who is, her family has been having some medical challenges. also. So we becoming a community when we will reach out like that. Dr. Butler has been very helpful to me. My niece had a stage 4 colon cancer that metastasized to her liver and then to her lungs. And she hadn't told me this, but I think it went to her lymph nodes. And so we had a very trying circumstance with my niece, but Dr. Butler and Ernest Goodrich and those of you who have some experience in history, you all have been very important to me and my family with this crisis with my niece. Well, folk,
Last thing, may I?
Yes, ma'am.
Please let me know about your niece and that situation that she's facing. I have one more announcement that I would like to ask, and I'll make it very brief.
Yes, ma'am.
I attended the Slavery Remembrance at the Power Center, which wall-to-wall people. And I went up and asked Reverend Dixon at the end of it. I said, we were here almost 3 hours, and all of you who had the microphone, you said nothing about the importance of turning out to vote. And he received what I had to say. He said, you chastised me, and I received it. What I would like to ask everyone with us right now today, all 7 of us, whenever you have an audience, will you join Project Voter Turnout in saying to people how important it is to use the power of your vote? We cannot affect any changes in things that are disconcerting to us unless we use that power. So I am just giving a plea. Some of you may have audiences, some of you may not, speak in front of groups or whatever, but whenever you have an opportunity, even one-on-one, please raise the antenna, the awareness of the importance of turning out to vote. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Anybody have any other concluding comments? You have the floor.
If I, excuse me, if I may, just one, because just hearing about your niece, Omowale, and others, and Dr. Butler, your experience with colon cancer. I was going to put in the chat, but we're concluding. But I just want everybody to know that you won't hear this in the media, because the media is there to advertise people who sell the products that sometimes do us harm. But meat, particularly processed red meat, salami, hot dogs, bacon, ham, they have been declared carcinogens, and they are the primary genesis of colon cancer. Do not eat them. We feed them to children. We grew up eating them, but they are a carcinogen. And a lot of it has to do with the processing of things like bologna and salami and that kind of stuff. But red meat is also linked to that. So I was going to put a link in the chat so that you can actually read what the American Cancer Society says, what the World Health Organization says. This is not news anymore, but it's just not talked about in the media because, again, we live in a society where, what we hear is what people pay to put on there, and they're selling the products. So you're not going to hear that. But that is really important. If you want to reduce your risk, that is a really easy and meaningful, powerful way to do it.
Yeah. And Sharon, my concluding comment is that that's very powerful, and you said it with some conciseness. I love the way that what it is you say, but I do want you to know that when I take that reduced the risk about 15 feet, and I shared with my significant other, when I leave the physician's office, he said, well, Mr. Omowale, you are not going to die, but you'll never be able to use your vision again like You were before you came to me. So I'm just letting you know that everybody can't receive what it is that you just said, and that's just the landscape that we deal with. But you got to keep saying it. And I thank you so much for it. Well, look, Dr. Randall, any concluding comments? You're on mute, Doctor.
Yes. The only thing I would add to this wonderful multi-log that we've been hearing is that a lot of the manufacturers who produce these, what Michael Pollan called food-like substances, which are not the same as food, but they're food-like substances. They do panels of taste testing. And they want to sell a lot of product. They want to sell a lot of McDonald's and a lot of fries and all the rest of it. And so what you're getting is not just somebody offering you some food. They're offering you something that has been manufactured to convince you to eat a lot of it. And it's not accident that it's addictive, that you don't want to eat 1 tablespoon of ice cream. You want to eat a whole lot of Haagen-Dazs. And anyway, I'm just adding that in there, that it's a conspiracy pretty much to feed you this stuff. So you have to actually pay some attention to that too. It's like a drug pusher. Anyway, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. David Teller, you have any closing comment?
I do. Enjoyed the messaging today about health, and I think our focus should really be laser pointed toward making sure we're doing the things that we heard talked about this morning. I do want to just close by saying I've been watching and listening to what has happened at Mar-a-Lago regarding documents that should not be there. I've been able to follow it close enough to know that there are people who are close to CIA and different agencies that monitor those kind of documents. They have put U.S. security and our lives in jeopardy. I ask you to pay close attention to it. It is more critical than many of us might understand if you look at it. There are people in other countries that have shared information with us that are moving agents because their lives are in jeopardy. It's that serious.
Dr. Taylor, check your message box, man. I sent you a message.
Thank you.
And
David Johnson, you have a concluding comment?
Yeah, I'd echo what Brother Taylor said about those documents. They never should have left the White House. From a security standpoint, he's absolutely correct. And we need to be aware of the situation because not only the lives of other countries' agents in jeopardy, ours are too. And Sister Shara, I'm going to slow down on my consumption of milk.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
There is one critical question that is not being addressed sufficiently well in my mind regarding the comment that David made just now. The fundamental question to me, what were his intentions?
I agree, Dr. Butler.
He took all of that. What was he planning to do?
Make some money.
Well, my hypotheses, and I could be so wrong, he knew he was in trouble legally all over the country, New York and Georgia and blah, blah. I'm wondering if he took all of that information so he could hold the nation hostage to keep himself out of legal trouble? I don't know. I think it's important to ferret out what were his plans, his intentions in taking it. He's got it, he took it, he's been found, but I still don't know what was he intending to do.
Well,
Dr. Butler, you're not the first person that has raised that question.
But let me assure you, Dr. Butler, that all the contingencies that might have been associated with his taking those documents and whatever his motive might have been, it's already been worked out in the community to set, things were set in motion the day the documents were found to rectify any situation that might have been pursuant to it. Trust me.
I still think we need to know, what was he trying to do?
We'll know that soon.
He was not successful, but it's important to know what he was trying to do. And
It is.
And it again.
It is, sister. It is. And in reference to what he wanted to do with it, it'll be found out. The Isley brothers said it's too late.
Yeah. Well, what we're going to do is, Dr. Butler, I want to thank you for that comment, because I will be having some discussions with Senfronia. Senfronia is on the DNC, and we're still talking to a few people with the Biden engagement team, but that question that you just had, it will be put before them. And so, David, going forward, in terms of reconfiguring what it is that we do, one area of our meetings going forward will be the threat to democracy, and this will be one of the things that come under the threat to democracy. So we will have some updates and we will have some penetration. One of the things that I'm trying to do now that we have these connections with Lizzie Fletcher and Al and Sheila, and they're on important committees, and they are talking with Bennett Thompson from the January 6th Commission. We can make sure that we have those conversations with them so that they would have those conversations. And by the way, I want to give just a high accolade to Representative Lizzie Fletcher, because I want you all to know that when we were discussing the runner show for the press conference, and we got the notice that Representative Lizzie Fletcher has called and she wanted to speak. And I was sitting there with folk, I'm saying, we got too many politicians. We can't add any more politicians to the agenda. And so that became a point of contention and a point of negotiation. But I am so happy that she spoke, because her opening volley was that the business of government is chiefly public health and public safety. So I'm glad that we had Representative Lizzie Fletcher. She made an impression in a very profound way. Okay, well, folk, look, you all have been profound yourselves this morning, and we're gonna have a one-word checkout. My word is gonna be gratitude. We're gonna go around from Dr. Randall and let you give you a one-word checkout.
Peace.
Thank you.
Democracy.
Joy.
Love.
Community.
God bless. We'll see you all in 2 weeks, the 2nd and the 4th, only the 2nd and the 4th.
Okay.
Right.
Take care, everybody.
God bless.
Bye-bye.
I'll have me DT.
Okay.
It starts here, from this field, this land, this class, and this step. The university success of our state is a reaching knowledge and opportunity. We are driving our roots and into the future. We have the most highest impact public research university. What starts here changes the world.
That helped us to believe in ourselves, that we could achieve our dreams of hard work and sacrifice. The USDA Foundation through education and tennis programs are doing just that, with hundreds of thousands of under-resourced kids across the nation served. So let's join them for that. This Saturday and Sunday, Jersey Mike's will donate 20% of all sales to the USDA Foundation. We always make a difference.